Hello, my name is Daniel Balarezo, and I want to talk to you about video game culture. Have you ever been part of a party chat or a game lobby which seemed a little bit too unbearable? Did the views of some of your party members make you cringe? Maybe it's just boys being boys, or maybe the banter stems from topic that dives deeper into debate. During this presentation, I'll be covering the effects of GamerGate, an event that started in 2014 as it relates to sexism in video game culture. You yourself probably enjoy casual gaming, but what happens when you cross paths with so-called hardcore gamers and their ideals in a culture that steeps in masculinity and misogyny? In order to understand the group represented in this presentation, it is important to understand the media which is used. The statistics on this page present information on customer-preferred gaming platforms according to gaming companies worldwide as of August 2016. According to the findings, 76% of companies stated that their customers prefer playing mobile games, 62% prefer PC or Mac games, and 40% prefer social online games provided by sites like Facebook. Consoles, which is the gaming platform that most people associate with modern gaming, only account for 29% of the gaming companies' responses. The growing popularity of mobile gaming has led to the development of independent gaming developers, known as indie developers, and a rise in the women-led development of video games. Still, at the time of GamerGate in 2014, the International Game Developer Association estimated only 22% of all game developers were women. In February 2013, an independent game developer named Zoe Quinn released an interactive fiction browser game named Depression Quest. This is a type of game which uses text commands to control the characters and influence environments around them. While the game received some positive reviews, there were some who believed the game was receiving undue attention, mostly because the developer was female. In August of 2014, Quinn's former boyfriend publicized a blog post named Zoe Post, a bit of a rant, which on one claim had accused Quinn of having a secret relationship with a video game journalist, who in turn publicized a favorable review of her game Depression Quest. Organizers quickly used anonymous image and blog threads like 4chan and Reddit in order to harass Quinn. As a result of this post, Quinn was the first round of harassments under what would become known as GamerGate. Quinn and her family were subject to many harmful and misogynistic harassment tweets and posts. In fact, Quinn's Tumblr, Dropbox, and Skype accounts were hacked, and her personally identifiable information was also leaked online, a popular technique used by techno communities like those on 4chan called doxing. Those who came to Quinn's defense were also subject to much of the same. One of the most notable was Anita Sarkeesian. Sarkeesian, a feminist and media critic, had released a video analyzing sexist stereotypes in video games. With the release of this video, correlating closely to the launch of GamerGate, made her a target for organizers of the GamerGate techno community. Sarkeesian's harassments became so intense that she left her house seeking shelter. Groups on 4chan, Reddit, and Twitter were so fanatical in their views that they called in a bomb threat to Utah State University and a nearby women's center where Sarkeesian would be speaking. Most supporters of GamerGate movement contended that their actions are driven by concern for ethics in video game journalism, the main focus being that of the relationship between the video game developers and the journalists. Supporters are worried about the conspiracies of reviewers who tend to focus more on progressive social issues in games, which lead to unwarranted praise, while traditional AAA title games are downplayed. The issue resulting from GamerGate are the issues of women in the video game industry and the First Amendment right to the freedom of speech. So who are gamers? An important issue for computer ethics centers on the question of whether men and women receive equal treatment in internet interactions. As it relates to the internet, you can state that the online community should value both its male and female users. However, in the early days of video game magazines and publications, they catered primarily to younger males. Nowadays, the popularity of games have shifted its demographic to include a wider audience. On the forefront of this change are indie developers like Quinn, who make games for mobile platforms, and others who create more relaxed, casual games. How then could a movement like Gamergate ostracize women in the gaming community? The statement that gaming is a male dominated space seems to be losing its validity. This statistic shows the gender split among US computer and video gamers from 2006 to 2017. It was calculated that women account for nearly 42% of all gamers in the United States, a slight increase over the previous year. As a rebuttal to much of the harassment from Gamergate supporters, the gaming community became divided, declaring death of that gamer identity. Gamer is not an inclusive term, and we should more accurately describe gamers as hardcore and casual. Hardcore gamers are those who are more competitive, purchase multiple titles, and try to perform every achievement to a game. Casual gamers are those who play with family and are looking to spend time enjoying a title without much care. Many of the attackers of Gamergate movement can be described as hardcore gamers who are afraid of mainstream media pushing a secret agenda forward. In Quinn's case, her agenda was a good review. As the term gamer splinters, people cling to whatever variations they can. But now we're all realizing something that's been true for years. People who play video games don't need a label. They're just people. Most supporters of Gamergate say that the issue is not one of sexism, but one based on the First Amendment. The First Amendment guarantees freedoms concerning religion, expression, assembly, and the right to petition. It guarantees the freedom of expression by prohibiting Congress from restricting the press or the rights of the individual to speak freely. As you recall, the beginning of Gamergate was in response to Quinn's ex-boyfriend publishing a blog post which ranted on and on about Quinn allegedly sleeping with journalists in order for them to write positive reviews of her game. When individuals came to defense of Quinn, they suffered backlash from Gamergate supporters. Gamergate supporters believe that Mr. Aaron John, Ms. Quinn's ex-boyfriend, has the right to freely express himself and his beliefs as it pertains to Ms. Quinn and her actions in association to their relationship at the time. Supporters aim to silence anyone who tried to make the issue ethical and not one of free speech. The issue in the eyes of the supporters is more of a free speech issue, rather an issue of women in the gaming industry. The video game industry is a vast and evolving industry, reaching our living rooms and our mobile devices. In an industry so large, you can conclude that equal opportunity will be had for both men and women to create content. However, the divide between men and women in this industry have led to the minimization of equal representation in video games. The categorization of the gamer brings with it a hypercritical, purist, right-wing view of the hardcore gamer and that of the less equal, casual gamer. Hardcore gamers are dissatisfied with the media polluting gamer space with bloated reviews on meaningless games. They've taken part of anonymous cyberbullying harassment movements like Gamergate in response to individuals who try and silence their opinions, all while using the First Amendment as a basis for attack. The inequality faced in relation to gender in this industry can be expressed as the relationship of the greater user population and the developers. Game developers should not be afraid to voice opinion and rally to support gamers who use their products or even the developers that make their products. How we choose to enjoy different types of media is our own, and the opinions that you hold with the media is your own. While this type of media has some fanatical supporters, it must be made clear it's just a game.